Hi, I'm Matt Hatton from technology industry analyst firm Transformer Insights, and we're at the Things Industry event in Amsterdam, talking all things IoT and LoRaWAN. I'm joined by Dan Preece of Connexin. Dan, welcome. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your organization.
Yeah, so I'm Dan Preece. I'm the Vice President of the IoT team within Connexin. So that's one of the two business units that we run within Connexin, one being fiber, one being IoT. Been with the company just over a year now. My previous experience has been with water metering, so it's worked really well to bring that knowledge and expertise into Connexin and the LoRaWAN experience itself.
Fantastic. Now, talking about smart water metering and so on, you're doing a lot with Severn Trent Water. That's your big IoT deployment, or big LoRaWAN deployment, as I understand it. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of them. It's the first. It's the most dense IoT deployment UK-wide and possibly globally. The reason why it's so dense is because you need an awful lot of gateways to get the signal propagation from the below ground water meters. So the water meters are installed anywhere between 0.4 and 1.1 meters in depth, in a box, put a metal lid on it and fill it with water and expect the signal propagation to come out. It's a hell of a challenge.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've densified the network sufficiently from SF7 to SF9 to ensure a 15-year battery life, which is what the water utility is chasing. They want 95% connectivity, 95% data success, 99% uptime, and 15-year battery life. So it's been a real challenge to get that. But the water utility is driving this technology forward, or at least the advanced metering infrastructure connectivity, to go from 2 meters reads a year, mainly visual, to 8,760 reads a year per meter, which will be hourly reads. So they're going to get consumption and they're going to get some alarms. So what they want to do is visualize the whole of what we're doing in Coventry and Warwickshire for Severn Trent Water to reduce leakage. They've got a target from Ofwat to reduce it by 15%, and they want to understand per capita consumption and then reduce it. So for me, I always use the analogy of driving a car without a speedo, which is the same as what they're currently doing, is trying to understand per capita consumption without having a water meter in the property.
Absolutely. If you can't measure it, you can't change it, I think is the terminology that people use. Yeah, it must be a challenging one. You talked about having to deploy all of these gateways. I mean, how many devices are we talking about?
So we've currently deployed 32,000 water meters in Coventry, and now extending into Warwickshire in 4 particular areas to push up to about 157,000. But in the future, so that's up to 2025. 2025 onwards, the view from Severn Trent Water is up to 3 million meters across their whole region, which is the heart of England, really. They've got capacity to go up to 4.6 million. There's 4.6 million serviced homes and non-households in the Severn Trent region, so we could go even further.
Okay. And on the leakage side of things, the idea being, if you know how much water people are using versus how much is being pushed through the pipes, then you can work out how much is being lost, where it might be being lost, and so on. Are you doing anything with the actual sort of upstream network as well, or is it just on the meters, or are you looking at the actual distribution network as well?
So the focus currently has been on the water meters, but because LoRaWAN is an open protocol solution, and with the mass LoRaWAN ecosystem of sensors that are available in the market, we're looking at a number of different opportunities to upsell on the existing network infrastructure. And because it's so dense, anything below ground or above ground is sufficient. So from a distribution side, we're looking at pressure sensors. Yep. We're looking at asset monitoring on pumps, current clamps to assess that. We're looking at sensors, temperature sensors in the pump station themselves. And we're looking at various other noise loggers and things, just to give Severn Trent a real view and a vision of what they can do. Because it's not about what sensor you put in the ground, it's what you do with the data. And they can start to aggregate this data and cross-reference this data. So if there's a leak, you get an alert from the water meter, but then the noise logger's detected exactly where that is. So therefore you're looking at making the proactive utility driver rather than a reactive. And then customers benefit because your CMEX scores are increased because you're getting less inbound customer calls, and you're viewed to be a very successful company and utility.
Absolutely, and a critical topic in the UK around water wastage or water leakage and so on at the moment. Why LoRaWAN? I mean, we're at a LoRaWAN conference, so you wouldn't probably be here if you weren't using that technology. But it's an interesting question to ask. Why have you picked that one as a technology of choice?
So there's three key things that the water utility looks for, and there's three key things why we won that contract in Severn Trent Water. The first one being accuracy of the water that they're measuring. So the Itron meter we use has got the widest accuracy of that type of meter in the market that is commercially available. So they're capturing very low flows. So the revenue gain for the water utility company is brilliant because they're capturing those dripping taps. And also for a leakage perspective, because a leak isn't always just a massive burst, it could be a small leak. So from their perspective, it's about the right meter, it's about an accurate meter, and it's about a meter that's good data in, good data out. The second pillar is reliability. So you look at other technologies, you've got NB-IoT cellular, you've got some proprietary solutions. We know of, Sigfox is potentially a proprietary solution with one vendor, but we've also got the Suez solution and Arqiva. And they're our competitors in the market. What we've got is reliability of the network. We've got redundancy built in, and we've got resilience of the network. So if a gateway drops, we can connect to another gateway. Therefore, continual data. And that's what the water utility want. They want reliability of the data, and they want reliability of the network to get that data through to their data management system.
Yep.
And the third one's price. Unfortunately, in some cases, it's the main driver, but in others, it isn't. It's value over cost. So we've proven the value, and now when we dive into the cost, it's the lowest price point of any IoT technology out there. It's just the way it's just the packet size is optimized, the way that the signal propagation comes out to a localized gateway. Everything is optimized from a technical and a commercial perspective. And that 15-year battery life is key. If we can build a network for a 15-year battery life, the water utility assesses on a TOTEX expenditure of 15 years, mainly broken into 3 separate 5-year blocks of amp cycle. But they're starting to assess over a 15-year. If we couldn't meet that battery life for 15 years, then we'd have to incorporate OPEX costs to replace a meter plus the hardware cost of the meter itself. Sure. So our competitors cannot meet 15-year battery life. If they're on a 6, 7 or 8 sometimes at peak, when they're close to their big base stations, which are expensive anyway, they're going to have to replace that kit.
Yeah.
So a TOTEX expenditure means LoRaWAN fits perfectly.
Excellent. You talked in your presentation yesterday, I think, about exactly this kind of thing. I'm interested to talk, though, about what's next. Obviously, you've got this network. You can presumably support other use cases, other customers. It can be a multi-tenanted network if you want it to be. Is that where you're going with the next move in terms of what you do with this LoRaWAN network you've got?
Yeah, absolutely. So Connexin is a smart IoT operator. We specialize in LoRaWAN, and because of the LoRaWAN network in Coventry, for example, at the minute, it's so dense, and above ground it's 100% everywhere. We're now looking at upselling sensors and opportunities, but not just in the sales vertical of utilities in water. We can upsell to the water utility themselves through water quality sensors, through, as we talked about before, the asset monitoring, etc. But actually, we're looking at the council now. We're looking at private enterprise. We're looking at the consumers within Coventry themselves. So we can upsell in a different sales vertical, smart buildings. In another sales vertical, smart cities and smart health. Smart health in IoT being assisted living.
Yep.
So all of these different sales verticals we've got under the IoT business unit in Connexin all contribute to upselling opportunities, for example, air quality sensors. But I say we've been promoting this with Coventry Council. The problem is a lot of these councils don't know what they're looking for. They say they want to buy an air quality sensor. Why do you want to buy an air quality sensor? Oh, because the council next door have got them. Oh, because Manchester's putting in an ULEZ zone and Bristol are and Bath. But why? So we need to really drill down because we're an outcome-driven company.
Yep.
And the outcomes are not stick a sensor in. Most of the time they don't care how the data gets there and what sensor there is to get that data, as long as they get the data they want. So the air quality one's a great example. We can install an air quality sensor, but actually the air quality sensor is providing you, demonstrating in different areas of the city where there's poor air quality. But you go a step further. Data science is another part of our business, which will tell you actually which buildings exploit worse CO2, and therefore the council can pinpoint them, reduce that, and therefore the carbon footprint and the carbon emissions are reduced overall.
Fantastic stuff. Exciting times. Dan, thank you very much for your time. That was Dan Preece from Connexin. We'll be back in about 5 minutes where I'll be talking to Brandon Satram of Blues Wireless.